thumbnail time.
Yes. Hi. Hi. Oh, your breath stinks, but oh, the kisses. Oh, yeah.
Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. For those of you that don't already know me, my name is Brittany. Sorry about this. It's kind of serving as my microphone, I'm hoping. Because I've had a lot of audio problems in my past videos, so I'm hoping that the microphone on this will be better than the microphone on my phone. So, moving on to the video. As you can tell by the title, today I'm going to be showing you how to kill a ferret. The very first thing that you're going to want to do, pretty much everybody does, quite literally, I'd say about 90% of people, first thing they do is they go to a pet store and they pick up a ferret. Anytime you want something, especially if it's something that is another life, like a literal life form, you're about to take on the responsibility for, you have to sit down at a computer, on a phone, do some research for at least 30 minutes to an hour. Look up the pros and the cons, watch some YouTube videos like this one, or others that say, you know, why you do want a ferret, why you don't want a ferret, more importantly, why you don't want a ferret. Those are the videos you should be watching, because everybody knows why you do want a ferret. Second step to kill a ferret, buy something to put it in. At least I hope that you're buying something to put it in, unless you have like a whole room that it's just going to be free ranging in which case, more power to you. Most people don't have that, so second thing people usually do is they buy the cage. And let's just say most people buy a regular one-story guinea pig rabbit cage thing. Don't do that. Don't be that person. They need to be in an enclosure where they're not having to sit at the same level of their own feces. So that means a one-story enclosure, 8 out of 10 times is not going to cut it for your ferret unless you're taking them out every single day, several hours a day, every single day. And most of the time, people don't do that. Third step to how to kill a ferret. So at this point, you've got your enclosure, you've got your ferret. Food and water. A majority of people, right off the bat, you know, take some water from their sink, pour it into the dish bowl, maybe get some random, you know, the cheapest food pellets that they can find, and there you go. It should be fed and watered. Most people, you know, think of them as dogs, so they feed them once to maybe 3 times a day, right? Wrong. So with ferrets have to, literally they have to have full 100% access to food and water at all times. Unless, of course, your ferret is like clearly becoming very overweight, in which case they should still have open access to food and water at all times. You just need to give them more exercise. And make sure that water is clean. If you see like old bits of food, old like hairs in it, like think about if you had to drink out of that bowl. If there's a bowl, this goes for any animal, even your dogs, your cats, whatever you have, even your lizards, whatever it is that you own. Like, if you yourself would not stick your head down there and drink the water out of that, because you should be able to drink out of the same bowl as your dog. Like, on God. If you can't keep your dog's bowl clean, you don't need to be having a dog. You don't need to be having a ferret. If you can't keep that water clean enough that you yourself could drink out of it, don't get a dog. Have you ever noticed that residual slime that builds up on the inside of like the bowl? Happens in the food part of the bowl too. That sludge is literally an organism. That's a bacteria that's living. And dogs and cats, their stomachs and our stomachs, we have more of like an immunity to it. So if we were to drink out of that bowl, the chances of it hurting us are very slight. Whereas a ferret, other exotic animals like reptiles, that sludge, that little slime that builds up in the water in food bowls, that can kill them. Whenever they're drinking that water, they're drinking in that bacteria and that sludge, and it builds up in their stomach. And this is the reason I know this, the reason I say this is because when I first got my ferret and I first got my iguana, I just half-assed, sorry, excuse my French, but I half-butted cleaning, you know, their water bowls and their food bowl. I was like, If it was in the wild, they'd be eaten a lot worse, but no, don't think that way. They're no longer in the wild, they're no longer wild animals. They've gone through years and years of domestication, like. Therefore, their immune systems are way weaker, so they can't handle things in the bacteria they'd be encountering out in the wild. Step number 4 to how to kill a ferret. Leave it in its cage all the time. Never take it out, never take it for walks, never let it run around the room, never socialize with it. That is probably the 4th and best way to kill a ferret. Like, the sure, quickest way. Like, it's one thing to not, to malnourish a ferret and to, not give it the right living space. It can still live through that. Like, ferrets are very resilient creatures. Ferrets are unbelievably emotionally driven, attached, and social creatures. Like, do not buy a ferret. This is, if you are going to listen to any step in this video, listen to this one the most. Do not by any means buy a ferret. If you are going to just let it sit there in its cage and you're never going to talk to it, you're never going to interact with it, you're never going to let it run outside and get fresh air, at least run around the house, do not buy a ferret if you can't take at least 1 hour out of your day, at least one, every single day to interact with those animals. And if you do buy a ferret, think really long and hard about your decision and educate yourself. Ferrets are too easily discarded. Literally, there are so many ferret farms and ferret homes for people to send their discarded ferrets, and I'm telling you, they are booked, they are full, a majority of them are, and it's just sad and disgusting when all it takes is a quick YouTube video, quick Google search to literally save a whole animal's life. That's all I'm saying. So that's probably the most important step. Take them outside, love them, cherish them. These animals only exist, these animals have been bred and domesticated for 300 to 500 years, give or take, maybe even closer to 900 years. They've been bred and interbred so much that we've now literally given them cancer. 70 to 90% of all ferrets will have some form of cancer in their life because of inbreeding. Like, we have bred this species to become friendly and to become nice and loving at the cost of their lifespan, basically. At the cost of their actual happiness. So, keeping that in mind, these animals aren't going to be here for very long. They live, on average, if you're lucky, 5 to 8 years. 5 to 8 years is so short. For an animal so just loving and outgoing, and to just die so soon and have such a short lifespan, for that lifespan that's already so short to just go to waste. Like, imagine having a lifespan that's only that short and having to spend it in a cage. Especially a cage that's at the same level of your own feces. Maybe I'm just too empathetic and I shouldn't be thinking this deep on an animal, but maybe more people should. Maybe that's the issue. Like, moral of the story is, do not buy a ferret on a whim. Do not buy any animal on a whim, just especially exotic animals. We've abused these animals long and hard enough, like in the pet trade industry. So there's no need to continue that torment outside of. I'm not saying don't buy ferrets. I own a ferret. I've owned many ferrets. That's why I'm here saying this now. I'm not saying you shouldn't buy a ferret. What I'm saying is only certain people have what it takes to own a ferret, and don't go taking that as a challenge. Oh, well, you don't think I can handle it? I'm gonna go get one then, because some people are like that. That's me too. I was in way over my head the first time I bought a ferret, so I'm sharing this now. I'm tired of going over to people's houses and seeing these ferrets that are like super skinny and just never held, never given attention, like they've never even been to a vet. That's step number 5 on how to kill a ferret, and the very final step. Never take that thing to the vet. How to kill a ferret. 2, you should be taking them at least once a year, annual checkups for shots. Ferrets need rabies shots. Ferrets need occasionally distemper shots. Ferrets need, they have shots too, just like cats and dogs. These animals are no exception. If anything, they're 10 times more susceptible to things, and therefore they need 10 times more care and attention and all of that. So yeah, I hope you learned something from this video. I hope I didn't completely deter you away from getting a ferret or piss somebody off. Probably did, but oh well. At least that means you probably learned something and heard what I said in this video. So that's what matters. Like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more. Like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more story times, for more how-to videos, for more pretty much everything.